With the recent interest in Baldur's Gate 3, I figured now would be the best time to showcase to new players all the gameplay systems and give you guys just a quick look into Baldur's Gate. So without further ado, let's dive in and show you what Baldur's Gate 3 has to offer. What is going on, guys? DatCoopGuy here, and today we're going to be jumping into a basic beginner's guide to Baldur's Gate. So first off, what is Baldur's Gate 3? And do you have to play the other previous games? You absolutely do not. This is its own separate story. It does build a little bit off of the previous games, but you don't have to have any prior knowledge to it. It is based off of the Dungeons & Dragons based system, which you might know from the recent Dungeons & Dragons movie that came out, and the dice rolling tabletop game. But without further ado, we're going to jump in and just show you guys the absolute basics, so that way when you jump into Baldur's Gate 3, you know exactly what you're doing and don't get too confused. So without further ado, let's dive in and show you guys Baldur's Gate 3. So the first thing you're going to do is when you're creating a character, you're going to have a lot of information on the screen. Bear with me, don't worry. It seems like a lot for beginners, but we'll walk through this. So in the beginning, you're going to be choosing an origin. This is basically kind of the main story arc of whatever character you're going for. You're going to have a variety of different characters. Right now in early access they're not available, but when the actual game releases, there's going to be plenty of characters to pick from with a lot of different origins. This is actually a very important choice, as it will give you different cutscenes, different major story arcs. While the game will play mostly the same, there will be vastly different cutscenes and things playing out throughout the game. So keep that in mind when choosing your character. You'll also be able to choose a background. This will just give you different skill bonuses to a variety of different things, which we'll explain later on in the video. But basically, it just allows you to add a little bit of flavor of a background for your character and gives you proficiencies and 2 unique skills. The other thing is you're going to be jumping into races. Races are, there's a lot of different races and a lot of different combinations. At the time of recording in early access, it makes it to where you have to choose the skill points, but when the game comes out, you'll actually be able to put the skill points wherever you want. Skill points basically enhance your skills in a variety of different combat and RP-based scenarios, with giving you bonuses on different things. But in general, when choosing a race, you're mainly just going to be looking at the features that they have, such as tieflings, where they're able to have resistance to fire and see in the dark. You also have like drow that have like a variety of different weapon proficiencies and also have an even better version of seeing in the dark, along with having advantage on like being charmed and stuff. You're basically just going to be choosing your character based off of the different bonuses that you see there. There's also sub-races. While the dwarves have like all these different proficiencies, they also have different proficiencies based off of the sub-race that they are. Now from there is a vastly huge different amount of customization you can do for your character. Lots of different things with body types, which there's going to be even more when the game comes out, skin colors, and say like you want to do something crazy, like for example, maybe I want to make a green looking dwarf, I can. There's a lot of different things you can do out there with tons of different hairstyles and things, and in addition to that, wonderful, wonderful facial hair. From there is when you choose your class. Your class is obviously the main thing that you're going to be caring about when selecting and making your character. There's a variety of different classes, and they also have a variety of different things that you can do to them to change them up, such as the Barbarian, which is a heavy fighter that has lots of rage and is able to just be an absolute powerhouse on the battlefield. Bard, which is a person that basically kind of uses a variety of different weapons and charms and certain things to power up their group. Cleric, which is kind of more of a faith-based caster, with a variety of different gods that they pray to that give you different bonuses. Druid, more of a nature warder type of class with tons of different spells and healing capabilities, and can also transform into animals. Fighter, well, your typical fighter with lots of its skills and things to enhance its overall combat prowess. Paladin, which has lots of healing based spells and a few magic spells in the mix, and is more of a charisma based tanky fighter. Ranger, which uses lots of its range-based abilities, and on top of it has it where it can use different things like Beast Tamer, and a variety of other skills out there that make it to where it's a mixture of almost like the Druid and the Fighter combined. Rogue, sneaky, obviously character that uses lots of its different skills and different abilities to make it to where it has lots of prowess and is able to bounce around the battlefield and deal massive amounts of damage, and it's just overall really nice to have because it can lockpick and do a lot of other different things. Sorcerer, which is a caster that is based off of it having innate magic where it is born with it and uses the charisma skill rather than intelligence. Warlock is a kind of darker caster that has kind of like a bargain with different patrons, which you'll be able to choose from a variety of different patrons, and makes it to where they overall are another charisma based class. And they're kind of, the rough way I would say is that, like, if you gave just an average Joe magic without them having the actual knowledge of doing it. Speaking of knowledge is the good old wizard that uses its intelligence based skills and has a variety of magic, a lot of magic skills there. From there, you're going to be having skills, and you'll be able to have unique ones based off of whatever class that you have to be able to pick from. Skills basically is things outside of combat that allow you to have different sort of bonuses, such as perception. Maybe you'll be able to find hidden details or like hidden levers to certain areas. Persuasion, being able to talk out of different situations, or maybe convince people to give you a little bit more money when you're doing adventuring. A lot of different choices here, and there is a ton of different skills with a lot of variety out there. Without further ado, let's get into the actual gameplay though. So at this point, you've officially broken out of your bonds and are aboard the Illithid ship. So let's talk about the basic UI. So over here in the corner is your picture, and it shows your hit points. From here you have your weapons. From here you have your character sheet, which you can always press N to look at your variety of stats here. So it has everything from your different strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, etc. From here, you have a variety of different things that you can do. You have your spell slots here, and you have a lot of your different actions here. In order to move your camera, you can do it with the WASD keys. You can also rotate the camera with Q and E. From there, you can also hold down Alt, and that shows you anything that is lootable or that you can grab or interact with. So in this case, we're going to walk around over to this mind flayer here, and we will try to loot him by clicking on him. From there, we'll have all of our different inventory that we can grab from. Now, you'll also notice that I'm taking a little bit of damage. That's because I'm walking on the fire surface here. So keep that in mind when walking around, is you don't want to exactly get into a lot of the fire things out there. So without further ado, I'm also going to click on this thing here. In the beginning part of the game, there's a lot of these different shrines that you can click on that will help heal you up. And we're going to go ahead and show you guys what a skill check is.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
So, one of the things that you're going to notice is that you'll sometimes have triggers to where you can do different skill-based checks. So in this case, we have an investigation check, which is based off of intelligence. Obviously, this character has lower intelligence, but it's worth a shot to try to see if we can do this dice roll. So we're going to go ahead and click it. From here, you're going to have this screen here. It tells you what type of check it is, which is an intelligence based off of investigation. So say like if, for example, you put a background that has the investigation buff to it, you can have a proficiency to where you have a little bit of a better skill. From here, it shows you what your modifiers are. So with this, I have a -1, so no matter what I roll, there will always be a -1 to that roll. From here, it shows you what the DC is, so the difficulty to roll it. So we're hoping that we get a 10 and above. Now, certain classes and party members can give you a bonus. So in this case, I have a bonus here to where I can cast Guidance, basically allowing myself to add a bonus on top of whatever dice roll I do. So in this case, we're going to click it, and now I have that bonus. So whatever minus I get, this is going to help out with getting rid of that. So we're going to go ahead and click. We got a 19. Very good. So we're going to pass this skill check. Obviously, we almost doubled it there. So now we're going to get some more information.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
So we know now that if we reach into this, this thing could potentially crumble. But say like we didn't pass that skill check and we had no information and we just reached into the pool. So we're going to go ahead and touch it anyway, just for the hell of it, even though it tells us that we really shouldn't. And as you can see there, I took some damage, but I survived a concentration throw. So a few different ways to sort of pass some different checks there. And like as always, just keep in mind of your different stats as they do affect your different abilities and checks there as well. I might do a whole video about this eventually later on. So without further ado, let's dive into some of the other features in this game. Over the course of your journey, you'll also meet a variety of different companions that you can have join in the fray, such as this one, which is Lizelle, one of the main characters that you can start as well. So for this, we're going to just talk to her, and now she's a part of my party. Over time, you'll be able to get a variety of different companions and different things with them as well, and you'll even be able to later on affect their equipment, but because this is the tutorial area, it doesn't show. Now let's actually show you guys some combat here. So we're going to jump into the fray here. So this is a turn-based game. So one of the things that you're going to notice is up at the top, it's going to have a variety of different enemies, and it shows you kind of the turn order here. From here, you have a variety of different things. So from here, this shows you how much your character can move. So in the case of my character, she can't quite get over to that area. So one of the things we're going to do is we'll get over here, we'll get into a high level area. And over here we have her variety of different weapons. So such as her having the short bow, we're going to switch to the range. And then we are able to attack them from here. So I'm going to do that, do an attack, and it missed. But the reason for that is if you actually look at the character, such as if I go to my character here, which I'll actually just go ahead and put her in stealth there. They have a variety of different skills that they have. So, for example, her dex is probably a little bit lower, which affects when it comes down to like bow-based weapons. Me, I have a high amount of strength, so obviously I'm going to be focusing on using my melee-based skills. So we're going to run up here and hit this guy. And I also have a variety of different other things I can do, such as cleave, prepare, lacerate, etc. So for this, I actually want to try lacerate. Let's see if we can do some major damage to him. Well, we did some major damage, and he is dead. I still have a little bit of movement I can do, so I'll just move my character over here, and we will end our turn. So from here, Lizelle has been sneaking the entire time. I press C for that, but you can also just hit it for there. So because she is sneaking right now, she has a bonus on this. As you can see here, I have high ground because I'm standing above the enemy here, and I'm also hiding. So I have multiple different advantages and bonuses to make it to where she can hit with her bow. Even though she has lower dexterity, we should be able to hit. So we're going to go ahead and click. And as you can see, I was able to hit, did some major damage, and I'm actually going to try to see if I can stealth again. See it? So they don't see my character, and they're more focused on my barbarian, who's kind of my tank right now. Now, obviously, they are above me right now, and I really need to get up there, but I can't get up there. So what we're going to do is we'll go right over here. And we'll have to stand there, and it's all up to her to kind of do some damage here. So one of the things is we're going to kill this imp that's already at low health. And he's dead. Perfect. We're going to have her come down with him, and we're going to have her equip her melee weapon. From there, he's doing his firebolt. One of the things I wanted to show you, though, is if you see this little arrow that's kind of pointing, that is if you run past an enemy, they get a thing called an opportunity strike. So we're going to have him run past this enemy. And as you can see, because I ran past that enemy, he does a dice roll and it sees if he can hit me. So keep that in mind. Don't just run past enemies willy-nilly. They will attack you if you run past them. But we're going to go ahead and hit him. And like that, he is dead. And as you can see, we get combat XP. Over time, you're going to get more and more XP, which will allow you to do things called leveling up, which we will dive into now. So this is one of my other characters that I have played through a little bit of the main story arc. And as you can see here, we have gained enough level 2 XP. What you'll do is you'll click that button, and from there you'll have a variety of different things you can choose. Every class is a little bit different when they level up, such as in this one, I get Divine Smite, I get some different abilities, and I get a different fighting style, which I get to choose from. So I'll do like great weapon fighting, and from here you get to customize what your prepared skills are. So in the case of this, maybe I want to have blessing, a little bit of healing, maybe some different smite based abilities, and a shield. From there you just click accept, and bam, you're able to get that there. Now also you can pick up other of your companion characters, such as Shadowheart here, which is one of the characters here, which I'll just go ahead and skip to when I get her. So in this case, I now have Shadowheart in my party. She is now part of my party. I can go ahead and use her inventory. I can put certain things in there, such as maybe I want to give her like all these scrolls, which you can do that just by pressing the tab key. Also, on top of that, when I level up, they typically level up as well. So we're going to go ahead and level her up, and she will have a variety of other different skills as well, which in this case, I want her to be kind of my healer, so we're going to have her pick up all the healing spells and blessing and cursing spells. That's one of the things that's going to be really nice about when your characters level up, is being able to kind of craft them how you want and be able to kind of build the builds that you want to with your characters. One of the things I wanted to show you guys too is that level 3, a lot of classes are able to choose a subclass. Some are able to start at level 1 to choose it, such as clerics and paladins. However, with other classes, most of them kind of turn online at level 3, such as Astarion here. He's able to be an arcane trickster, which is able to use a variety of different magic-based spells, or he's able to be a thief, which allows him to have a additional bonus attack, making it to where he's really good at having 2 different types of weapons and doing a variety of other different skills. And on top of it, he has resistance to falling damage. A lot of cool different things that you can do with these, especially when you get into some of the other classes. It allows you to be able to customize your character even more. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about also is armor. So for example, a lot of different classes can wear certain things, such as my paladin, it's able to wear heavy armor, same with some of the clerics and Lysel. But Will over here can only wear light armor. But what happens if we give him some heavier different armor here? So, such as medium armor. As you can see here, it says that he's not proficient in it. He will still get the bonuses from having this armor line. However, if in the event that he does any sort of based attacks, as you can see here, because I'm not proficient, I can't cast any of my spells. If I did an attack here, I have a less likely chance of doing it. As you can see there, it says disadvantage from my equipment. So keep that in mind when gearing up your characters, is that they do actually need to wear certain types of gear, otherwise they are not going to have a good time. That's why when determining your race, it's also important to keep in mind some of the different proficiencies that might not be with your class. You can use it with some of the other races out there, such as, for example, maybe you want to make a wizard dwarf, but they have proficiencies in hand axes. You can make it work. So just keep that in mind when gearing out your characters, that certain characters can only wear certain gear unless you choose feats later on that allow you to be able to wear different types of gear, which you'll typically get at level 4 and 8. One thing you'll begin to start to notice is these little markings here. These are actually waypoints, and they allow you to be able to fast travel between different points on the map. So if you press M, over here on the left side, you'll see all the waypoints that I've unlocked. So with doing that, I am able to click him and instantly teleport to somewhere else. This prevents me from having to walk all the way far away to get to different areas. So just keep that in mind when journeying into all the areas here, of like how you just don't want to click around and have to travel so far. You can always just use the fast travel system when going forward. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about also is camping. Camping is basically a way for you to kind of regen a lot of the health of your character, but also get a lot of major story arc quests done. So one of the things that you're going to notice is that if you click on this little campfire here, you are able to do short rest, which is able to restore some health points, but also makes it to where warlocks are able to restore their spell slots. And some other classes have some different things that happen when you give them a short rest. Then you have long rest, which you have to use camp supplies because obviously you need food and whatnot to be able to camp, but it also makes it to where you're able to restore pretty much all of your hit points and spell slots for your characters, especially mages that have to constantly keep using spells. They kind of go through a lot of their spell slots and then they have to be able to rest in order to get them back. This is a nice little area because not only is it able to regen your health, but this is also where you get to interact with a lot of the NPCs, such as Will over here, who has some important things to talk to me about. We also have our good old storage chest here, which you can put some variety of different things inside of there to just kind of store up, like maybe you have like a lot of gear that is just taking too much space, which as you can see here, you have your sort of weight of what you can carry. The higher your strength, the more that you're able to carry. Obviously, you don't want to carry too much, otherwise you get encumbered and then heavily encumbered and then you're moving at like a snail's pace. So it's important to sometimes drop some different items and things here and just kind of store them away. But yeah, this is going to be a very important area. As you can see, I already have some different NPCs here that aren't even just the companions, such as this dog Scratch. I have Withers, who I can talk to if I ever want to re-roll my character completely, maybe change up some different stats, maybe some different spells. And then I have this guy, which is important for the Paladins, which I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's spoiler territory. But basically, a lot of the different major story arcs happen here. Every once in a while, don't be afraid to just set up camp and talk to the NPCs and continue on their storylines, as it is important for you to kind of develop different relationships with them, whether they hate you or like you. So showcasing a little bit on a higher level character, I wanted to show you guys how shops work. So this is one of the NPCs that you can interact with. He's in one of the earlier scenes in the game. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So you're going to have this screen here. there's a few different things that you can do with it. You can obviously sell items by just right-clicking, or by double-clicking, and then you can hit trade. This gives me additional gold. But then there's a feature called barter. So barter is where I can trade certain goods. Instead of it being a flat gold amount, I can be like, oh, I want this dagger instead. And it balances based off of what my gold and everything else is in there. Another thing that you'll notice is over here, this reputation meter here. So the more that he likes you, the better sort of prices that you will get with a lot of the different things out there. As you can see here, it shows you some of the different prices there that you can get. So in this case, for example, if I give him, let's say, a short blade, I can make it to where instead I tell him I don't want the gold. I'm just giving it to him. And then watch this meter over here. Right now it's at 28. And it went up by 1. Now, obviously, the more valuable items and the more money that you give him, the better prices he'll give you until you're eventually in the green and you get some massive discounts there. This is going to be a system that will get better and better, especially when you find better shop NPCs, especially when you start getting into Baldur's Gate. But this is basically how the shops work. Now, let's say that you are a character that can't really carry a lot. You can always switch to your other characters here on the bottom left to be able to hold a lot of your stuff. So like Lizelle, for example, a lot of time I'll make her carry like a lot of my armor and things out there if I'm playing like a mage-based character. So that way I don't have to carry everything. But I am kind of a hoarder, so I do like to hold on to a lot of different stuff. So now I wanted to show you guys the basics of stealth and separating from the party. There's going to be certain times where you want a character to separate from the party and do their own separate thing instead of having everybody follow you. So one of the things that you can do is separate from the party. What you'll do is you'll grab your character here, you'll hold him out and release him. Now this character is separate from the party and can do whatever I want to do. And as you can see, the party will stay over here. So maybe I want my front runners to be in one area and Will to run off into another to cast his spells. From here, we have a variety of different options. We can always do shove, where I can just shove this NPC off of a cliff if I wanted to. I have jump, which allows me to be able to jump over any giant caverns and things like that. And we have throw, where I can like throw different objects. Maybe I want to throw like a sword at a person. You can dip to do some different like surfaces, like such as if I see fire. However, I got the ever burning blade, so I don't have to. And then you're going to press C, or you're going to hit your hide action. This allows me to be able to sneak. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is this little bit of red here. That is where people can see you. But if you have a decent skill check in sneak, it will allow you to be able to try out some different things. So let's go to our character sheet here, and we can go into skills. And if, say for example, I had a decent amount of sneak, I would be able to pass those checks a little bit easier while walking in front of an enemy. This is going to be important for your rogue-based characters, but also, if in the event that I am sneaking, I can also do this thing called pickpocketing. So one of the things here is I'm going to sneak up on this person, even though I'm in heavy gear, and I can do pickpocket. If in the event I try to steal, it has a target number. My target was 11. I managed to make it with my sleight of hand because I rolled a 10 and I had a +1 in dexterity, so I was able to steal that pair. Now, if I were to walk over into this red area here, I did a dice roll and I managed to still pass my sneak check. And as you can see here, she's mad.
It's been emptying pockets around here.
See, and she ended up catching me. So now she's angry at me, and she wants me to return what was stolen. So I'm going to try to talk my way out of the check here, and I'll use persuasion, for example. And these are just some of the different examples of things that you can do while doing your sneaking. Well, anyways, guys, that was my short beginner's guide to Baldur's Gate. I just wanted to kind of give you guys the basics of a lot of the different systems out there when jumping into the game. Later on, I'll do some different guides based off of the different skills and explaining attributes and everything, but I wanted to just give like a general idea of giving you enough tools to be able to join in and do the basics of the game. I hope you do enjoy. We're going to do a lot more Baldur's Gate content in the future, especially with the release coming around the corner. I might play a little bit of the early access and show you guys some of the other stuff that they showed in some of the dev live streams. But without further ado, I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.